Well, hello there, everybody. How we all doing? Um, this is a bit of a strange one. As you may or may not know, Johan can't make it today. Technical issues stopped us from working, um, and all other issues that has happened. So it's just me today, and hopefully you. Um, before we go any further, though, I do have a technical issue. You may have noticed that I've got something on my head, which is what I was going to talk about today. But at the moment, I can hear myself. Now, the reason I can hear myself is because if I move this over, I was going to bring myself in. So my idea was that we could interview myself talking with this on. The only problem is I can hear myself coming in here. So give me a second. I'm hoping that I can not hear myself, because that would be great. There we are. Gone. Awesome. Right, that's made myself feel better. It's just a shame that we can't do the whole talking to myself sort of thing. So, how are we doing today? As always, the show is brought to you by you lovely people. So if you've got any questions, then put them in the question banner. And actually, if you want to come and join me today and talk and ask questions about everything that's going on, then yeah, I'd love to hear you. Hopefully the echo's now stopped itself, technical issues and all that. Hopefully Johan's having a good time on holiday. As I'm saying, he was supposed to be joining us today, but he can't make it, but that's not a problem. I thought I'd also start the episode off with a slightly different approach. Normally we go through and we talk about what number it is, so number 90, and the date is the 15th of July. But I also need to talk about the fact that this is eerily scary being live by myself the day after England went on and didn't win at the Euros. So this time 3 years ago, I was on Ask the Expert, and on Ask the Expert, we were there to talk about all things related to the World Cup and QuickBooks and everything that went with it. And the day after that we failed to win at the Euros, I had to come on stream to talk about the fact that, well, I was actually talking about the time, MTD, and talking about how the all the changes that have happened at that point. So it was a bit of a strange conversation to come on with. And we actually had to come along and talk about the fact that England had just lost. And what I said at that point was quite touching, I think, of all kind of similar to what's happened. I said it was a big shout out to the England team. I said not the result we'd all hoped for, but a cruel manner to which to lose. Massive well done to the team as a whole, getting us to the final, giving us such a great journey. That's the first. That first half showed us how good the team we've been, and showed should be the memories cherished for the final. And I feel like that's quite potent to what actually happened yesterday. Although maybe that first half was more tense, I suppose. I think overall maybe the best team won last night. I think my fear from what we had is that this time 3 years ago, when it was really, really tricky and we had a really difficult one of doing it, I feel like we got robbed 3 years ago, whereas this year we just couldn't beat the better team on the day, which is as the cookie crumbles. I did finish off saying, though, don't forget next World Cup is the only year and a half away, well, 2 years in our case, and a very different Winter World Cup was coming to us that way. We didn't quite go and do quite as well in that World Cup, but it was good to see. And it just feels eerie that 3 years on, I'm having the same conversation, pretty much the same element that's happened, and had there. So any questions? I can see people are starting to stream in, which is great to see. It's going to be a very strange show today, with it just being myself. Jan was unfortunately was planning to be here, but couldn't get his connection to work. So we're going to go through from there. But do shout out if there's any other technical issues. I think the echo is now finished. It's certainly not coming through my ears anymore, which is good to see. And yeah, I've put the link out there if anyone does want to join us and come in through there. So who we got coming in today? We got Paul here. So good morning, Paul. We got Dave here. Good morning, Dave. As I go through, we got Natasha here. Good morning, Natasha. Kirsty's here. Good morning, Kirsty. Clive's here, says good morning, and WFT. Any questions on the Vision Pro, please do shout up. And Sue's here. Good morning, Sue. So let me talk to you about the setup I've got in front of me, and give you a bit of a background of what we can talk about today. So I do have some bits to talk about. We have Intuit laying off 1,800 employees. We've got a little bit of update on AI. We've got an accountant banned for taking form of firm's client data, VAT registration estimated tool, and some Microsoft things. I'm going to be completely frank and honest with you. With this having such issues today, I have just gone and pretty much borrowed the news from Accounting Web. So very, very appreciated Tom Herbert for doing all the legwork on this one. We're just going to discuss and give our opinions on those matters today, as yeah, it's a slow news day anyway, but even more so the fact that yeah, it's just a solo show. So I thought that might be the easiest way. So let's talk about what's going on with my face at the moment, as maybe people are a little bit confused as to what's happened. So currently I am using a VR/AR unit called a Apple Vision Pro. Now I'm someone who actually, and I forgot to go live on Instagram, so yeah, great. I'm having a great day with technology today. I'm someone who really loves the idea of using technology. So I have got myself a VR unit from Meta called the Vision Pro. I've done a couple of videos on that. I've filed accounts on there. I've done loads of things on there as well. But one thing that I always find with those Vision Pro units and all those other VR units is actually the really, really friction, as in just putting the device on and trying to do any piece of work is actually really, really difficult. That being said, if I put this device on, because I've got all of my passwords in there, I've got the whole ecosystem from Apple in there as well, actually the friction disappears. So there is a chance, it's still not perfect, but there is a chance you could actually think about doing work with this device and actually be really, really productive in certain circumstances, which if I look back at the other VR unit, so you can even see it behind me, look here, look there it is there, that VR unit there. As much as I'd love to say that that's the future, and as much as I'd love to say that being able to stick that on your head and have this massive screen and log into all these different features and everything else, actually, it's not quite working for you, because I don't know about yourself, but I don't do any work in the Facebook Meta universe. I don't have, the browser or anything like that. So it doesn't know all my passwords. It doesn't know the software that I like to use. It doesn't have apps already installed. And you're kind of starting from scratch because you're in a whole different ecosystem. And when you're trying to figure out in, VR as it is and trying to put VR in the place, actually it becomes really, really difficult to go. So yeah, when it comes to the VR side of things, I've been an avid tester of it. I've tried AR as well, which is the idea of just having glasses that you put on and you can have that big screen. I've got my glasses, my Meta glasses, where I can take photos. So I've been always dabbling in the idea of AR, VR and how it could work and pushing forward. But I've never, ever been able to find a solution that just works. And I'm pleased to say that actually this isn't something that people should go out and buy at this point in time, because it's still experimental, it's still buggy, there's still problems. And, just looking at it from here, it's not exactly a practical solution yet, but this is by far the closest we've got to actually having something that we can say is what the future is going to look like. So just to give you a bit of clarity of what's happening in front of me. So in front of me at the moment now, I have a big screen and I can see you guys. I've got everything that I need in terms of my laptop screen in front of me. And it's absolutely huge. And I also have the ability to bring up other apps as well at any point in time. So when I first came on and when we had the echo issue, I was actually bringing up StreamYard, and I was using StreamYard to be able to come in and show my what's called persona. So what I have here is effectively my whole office use thing all based in here. So I don't have to look around a monitor if I want to go, away, or I don't, if I'm going on the train or anything like that. Technically, I'm not 100% sure I'm comfortable doing it yet, but technically I could just stick this on and I'm off to the races. And the other thing that VR unit over there was struggling is how do you interact with it, right? Like interacting with any piece of technology, how you input data, how you go and put information in. Well, that's actually really, really, really difficult to get right. And if you don't get that right, that causes friction. If you cause friction, you're not going to use the technology, right? So for a lot of the time, the reason that device over there didn't work, and the reason that device over there was a problem to actually get set up and figure out and use, was because for me to actually put any information in there, really, I needed a keyboard with me. So then you're having to look around a keyboard. Or you could use the little dongles on there, and you could kind of use a virtual keyboard and push there. And in fairness to it, it did have technology where it could replicate your hands and you could kind of virtually type on there. But as you can imagine, that technology is really, really difficult to get right. And they definitely didn't get it right. Most of the time you spent trying to go in there, trying to put things on there and trying to sort stuff out, and you're like trying to click on one thing but it wasn't clicking, and then you were trying to click on another thing and it was then clicking something else, and there was a whole manner of issues and problems that went with it. Whereas this, one thing they have definitely got right, and one of the reasons why I think this is definitely more of a look to what the future is going to be, is because this gets the difficulty bit right in terms of being able to go in and actually interact with whatever it is you need to do. So, for example, if I need to type something, I literally look at what I need to look at, do a little pinching moment like that, and then up comes the keyboard, and I can then just look at what letter I need to look at, pinch, 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 and I'm typing that information in. It seems like an obvious way of doing it, but no one else is doing it this way. Everyone else, like this one included, is either going to be you point with your device, so they have little dongles that you can point at the keyboard, for example, or put a physical keyboard on, or literally trying to use your hands to type in real world. And again, it doesn't quite work. What this bit does, though, is that whole interaction is based on your eyesight. So what you look at, so I can see now, go over to the Instagram feed, I can see, oh, hello, we've got good morning, Aaron, from Stephanie, so hello to you. Yeah, so because we've got people there, all I need to do is look at it, tap, and that item, I can then interact with that item. And that, it sounds like such a simple difference, but that is what you need to be able to make a platform like this work. Because if you can't interact with everything, if you can't just literally go and pick something up like I'm doing now, I'm picking up a whole new screen and I'm moving that screen around and I'm putting it and positioning it where I need to do it. If that interaction doesn't work, and if that interaction has friction, then this whole technology platform won't work. So yeah, so if I compare this to that, night and day different. The other big difference of this one is the idea of, oh, I don't know why my camera's now gone down here. Okay, cool. The other big difference between this and that one is the idea of what's called pass-through. So if you imagine when you stick that device on there, the idea of it is that it takes you out of your world, puts you in this virtual reality world, and then you can go and put screens everywhere and you can interact with your technology. And again, there's that problem with actually logging into the data, logging into the things, getting your passwords and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's going to be a problem, right? But the idea, the principle of it is that you're in this whole different world and you can interact with it, make your screens as big as you want. And if you see some of my previous videos, especially filing VAT returns, tax returns on QuickBooks through VR, it worked pretty well, right? Like the idea of it going through there. I don't know why my camera's going mental, by the way. Yeah, I don't think it likes the fact I've got this on my head. And why would it? So yeah, it's going horrible again. Let's see if I can sort that out while I'm talking. Yeah, so the idea would be that with that screen over there, or with that over there, yes, you could go in this virtual environment. Yes, you can be really productive because you have these huge screens up, and you know, in theory, you could then replicate your setup at home and have multiple screens and interact with it all and do it from there. But actually, what if you got a phone call? What if you got a text message? What if someone came in the room to talk to you? For you to then interact with the outside world, you'd have to take that device off and interact with them. Whereas what this does cleverly is this gives what's called pass-through technology there as well. So the idea of pass-through technology is that at this moment in time, I can see my whole office, but I have positioned around bits that make sense. So I've got up here the accounting website. I've got here in front of me you guys for StreamYard. On the left-hand side, I've got my show notes. I'm positioning everything I want in the real world, and I'm sticking, basically floating things that I can interact with. Again, I can pinch and I can move and I can put things around. But in theory, I'm interacting with my environment, but with the virtual reality on top. And that's what AR technology is all about. So I think that's a huge change as well. That's something that certainly this technology here couldn't get right. It had a pass-through technology, but it was really blurry and uncomfortable, and it was slow and laggy and all that sort of stuff. What this device does is it does a one-to-one replica, basically, of what it is. And I feel like that's the difference. And now we've got the camera going all the way down here. Okay. I mean, it doesn't help the fact I can't. Yeah, there we are. There we are. There we are. Okay. Yeah, well, that's annoying, isn't it? Okay. I might have to actually turn that off if I can. Let's see if we can figure out easy way of turning that bit off, because that camera is going to go mental. Right. Okay. That should be. Oh no, that's got worse. Brilliant. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, so the technology in here, I think that's the bit that going forward, if AR, VR is going to have any future, then this whole idea of having a pass-through where I can look at my watch, I can grab my mobile phone and interact with my mobile phone if I need to. If the technology can't allow you to do that, I don't think then there's going to be much future for it. Whereas now, it can do from there. Right. That's just really annoying that it's done that again. So let me try and anyway, any questions that people may have, please put in the question box. This could be a really short episode if I'm completely honest with you. Again, we were hoping to have Johann here, but his internet connection's not quite working. He is having a great time though, which is the most important thing. He's out there enjoying the lovely weather and snorkeling and everything else you can imagine going through from there. All right, let's have a quick look and see if I can figure out how to stop my camera going mental. Let's put this one on here and give to this one. I mean, at least I actually have the ability to go through and do these little changes and stuff like this, which I definitely wouldn't have been able to do in the one. I just don't think my camera likes the idea of me doing this. So if I was to just put this to that, and turn off tracking. Okay, oh no, that's made it worse. There we are. Right, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that's fixed it. Right, cool. Back to the regular show then. Right, what are we going to talk about today? Yeah, let's just carry on finishing on this one bit. And we've got a real, Clive says here, Zoom calls will never be the same again. In all seriousness, this is exciting technology. And it is, right? Like the first thing I did when I put this on my head was went into QuickBooks and found a VAT return. Is that what this is designed to do? Probably not. But the fact that you can just go in, you can just go to the VAT section, you can just press the file button without anyone at QuickBooks doing anything to enable that. I think that's the important bit, right? Like, yeah, QuickBooks is on a browser, so in theory it should work on anything. And in reality, if I look at a lot of the equipment that I have, even my Switch, I could probably turn that in file of VAT return on there if I need to. So it shouldn't be a surprise that it does work, but the fact that it does work actually is quite impressive, right? The fact that you get to have the ability to just go in any of your software that you've already got. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. The most important bit for me is the fact that all my passwords are already there, because I'm already using the Apple ecosystem and it already knows my login credentials for QuickBooks, Teams, everything else. Then actually just going in there and being able to press one button, being able to bring that information up, being able to use, it uses your eyes as a authentication. So, every eye is different, like the fingerprint. So as long as they're my eyes looking in the screen, then I get access to my credentials and go through from there. So I can log into pretty much everything that I need. If I install an app that I have on another device and I install the app here, then it just logs in. And that makes a huge difference. That is that, back to that word friction again. That makes a huge difference into making it work. Now, I have done a whole video on this that's coming out on Tuesday, I believe. So, more information there. And I think the most important part about that video is you'll get to see the perspective that I'm seeing now. That's the bit that I'd love to be able to show you all now, because actually what I'm seeing and what's actually happening is the cool bit. Like, that's the bit that's exciting. That's the bit that does make you think that actually there could be a future for this coming forward and going through that. And now that whole idea about Zoom calls as well, the cleverness is that obviously the cameras and everything are all looking outwards. They're not looking at you, but they create what's called a persona. So basically a render of you. And it records and it can tell like your mouth movements, and it can tell what's going on in every aspect there. So it does make it really easy to kind of have those calls. Now, do they look perfect? Probably not. And actually, do they look uncanny? Yeah. I think if I jumped into my team meetings today for my team later after this, and I was on my persona, I think that freaked them out more than anything else. But the idea that you could do that works quite well. My favorite use case I've found for it so far, though, is there is in Zoom calls, team calls, those sort of things. Yes, you can bring your persona up so it looks like you and you can hear, you talking, and you can have that ability to see your persona kind of interact and have emotions and all that sort of stuff, right? So they're trying to put a human element to it, which works quite well. That's if you want the perspective of you, if you were having, a normal Teams call with there. But the bit that actually does excite me is when you flip the camera around and the person actually has a POV then. So you can actually set it up so that what you're looking at is what they see. And actually, think about that for the use case going forward. Think about how that could work with, with you doing training later or anything like that. If you have the ability to go in and actually show what it is you see, and not just screen sharing, like we're taking it a step further at this point, aren't we? So instead of just seeing what I can see on my screen now, which you would be able to see, so you could see, everything that's set up on my screens. Imagine the fact that, again, because you got that pass-through technology, well, they can see your laptop. They can see your keyboard. They can see your mouse. So sometimes it's, people are having problems with making something work. But actually, if you can see what they're actually typing and what they're actually using on their mouse, well, you've got even more information there to be able to help them in whatever way it's going to be. And that bit really excites me as well. That whole training for POV purposes, especially if you've got a new team member, right? You got a new team member, they've got a new laptop, and they're even struggling to figure out how to turn the brightness up on their monitor or turn their keyboard on and off or whatever it's going to be. If you've got the opportunity to be able to see from their point of view exactly what's going on, you're not going to use it all the time, but having that ability to use that once or twice is actually really powerful, isn't it? Because that's you then being able to help that person along, figure out what their issues are, troubleshoot for them. And I think that, to me, again, technology is not here now, and this certainly isn't the answer for everyone to use. But if we can get that right, I think that's where the technology comes through. Go through from there. Cool. Paul says, have seen people using it while driving a car. That's scary. The cool thing about using it when driving a car is that technically you could have your maps up on one screen, on one side of it. You could have your app for your car up that tells you, what tire pressures you've got and stuff like that. It's definitely a use case for that. Do I think that's the safest thing to do? Probably not at this point in time. But then if you've got an autonomous car, then why not? Then that probably comes in. I was watching one of the videos yesterday about someone who jumped in and jumped in an autonomous car, a taxi. So no driver in it. They just jumped in America and after races. Now, wearing something like this for that would be kind of perfect, right? Because carry on with your work, get everything done, you have that big screen technology. Yes, you can get your laptop out, but I've always found that getting my laptop out, I always stop myself from doing certain bits of work. So if I'm out and about, there's always that one job that I go, I should really wait till I get home, in front of my big monitors to do that particular piece of work. It'll be more efficient, for example, or, there's definitely times when I've gone and put work off because I'm telling myself I need that bigger screen to be able to be efficient. In theory, with this, you could do that anywhere. Big one for me is editing videos. I hate editing videos just on my laptop, like that small screen to go through and edit on there. I'll do it in a pinch, but it is, it's definitely not as good as experience as having my multi-monitor setup that I have in front of me now, where I can put things in different areas and I have access to different resources. In theory, that's what this brings you, where you can set up any type of multi-screen setup that you wanted or widescreen setup that you need. And I really think that's the future of what this technology is going to bring. Good morning, Victoria. Hope you're having a good day. So it's been a weird episode, this one, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. Kirsty says, what happens if you wear glasses as you do? Does it have to be prescription? So what actually happens is when you put the order in, they ask you if you wear glasses or not, and it gives you an opportunity to upload your prescription. And then they send you magnetic inserts that you put on the screens. Now, actually, in theory, because the pass-through technology is so good, you could then use it as glasses, like going forward. And in theory, that means that you could use this as a way, if your glasses aren't there or anything, you have the opportunity to kind of do it. I had to do the same for these as well. So these are my Meta glasses with my with the camera on them. I had to use exactly the same technology to put that through. But it was going through from there. So yeah, what happens when you wear glasses? They've kind of got that sorted. And if I'm honest with you, there's another reason why this is working so much better than that VR unit is back there, because that didn't have prescriptions on. So it was, you were fighting fatigue, you were fighting like blurriness, you were fighting all of that sort of stuff that went with it. So yeah, tricky one to go forward. Cool. So if anyone has any questions on how this works, what is happening here and everything else, then please do go ahead. We do have some to talk about today. There's some really interesting kind of news cases that are coming through. I thought it'd be good to kind of just give opinions on it. Again, big shout out to Tom Herbert, because I've literally just gone through kind of accounting bites this week, which we always have as in the background as what's happening, but we would never normally just go looking at like, because the whole point is that we kind of bring our own opinions to the table and we talk about our own news articles and everything else. But it makes sense to kind of bring this to the what you call it. So what have we got in the world of news? Well, there's new practice proposal and billing tools being launched by Cone. So what interests me here is their pedigree of what they've actually had previously in terms of being able to get money or funding before. So if you look at their pedigree, the people behind Cone were behind Go Proposal, Go Cardless, should I say, and some other solutions as well. So they're definitely going to be someone who are going to have the caliber to go out there and actually sort out the money situation and be able to make sure that they can get some really good funding. I'm hoping that means that we're going to see some innovations in that space. So proposal and billing tools, what can they bring, with some good amount of funding behind them. Fingers crossed that means that they can bring something new. I mean, personally, at this point in time, I'm not looking for a proposal solution. I'm really happy with mine that I'm using. And I don't really know what else I need other than what's already on the roadmap for Client Engager, or Engager app as it is now, with the ability to be able to let clients kind of choose different solutions. So, if you give them a proposal, but you want them to have different, like maybe add-ons or different solutions, then it goes through from there. So, yeah. What can they bring? Let's hope they can, because at the moment in time, when you look at the current proposal solutions, we've kind of got feature parity on everyone at the moment. Very few of them have got anything majorly different. And the only way that they can really enhance going forward is looking not just at the proposal itself, but actually figuring out if there's an opportunity for us to have a better onboarding process. And I know, again, Engager's roadmap, they're looking at that's one of their key aspects, trying to bring in like Zama and things like that into the play, and trying to use those as ways in which we can enhance that experience. But yeah, fingers crossed, we're gonna have the opportunity to bring that in as well. Okay, cool. So yeah, well, we don't know enough about it, right? All we know is that they're bringing a practice proposal and billing tool in, so we can go through from there. Some AI news as well. There is Intuit laying off 1,800 employees. So, I mean, the idea here, and it's been all over LinkedIn, a message of support going out there, opportunities for people to kind of see that and push that through. Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? I mean, there is no benefit, there is no good news about this at all. This is just something that that we just have to kind of expect, unfortunately. And we've had these conversations and we've seen these happening throughout the industry. Xero was last year, wasn't it? There's going to be more to come. I think the danger of this one is the fact that it's been talking. Yeah, it's mostly US employees, Paul. Yeah, so there's no one from the UK been affected, but yeah, there's been closure of some of the offices and things like that. But I think the danger of this bit is the fact that they've mentioned it's all about the AI shift and Intuit Assist and everything else like that. I think we just got to be careful of the message, right? Like, we're all keen to get Intuit Assist and play around with it and figure it out, and we want to see a lot of innovation there. And Intuit have plowed so much resource and development into Assist. They've paid for lots and lots of different aspects, and they've got lots and lots of different bits that they're going to be putting into it. We just don't want the message to be that it's at the cost of jobs, right? That's the bit we've got to be really careful of. And from what we can tell from this article, you know, it is because of realignment. They're putting more resources again into Assist. They're pushing more down that route. So it makes some kind of areas redundant now, or that there's some areas that there's not much point putting research and development in going forward. That makes a lot of sense. We just want to make sure that that message going out there is not AI is taking jobs, because if that's going to be the message, then it's going to make it really difficult for us to push it forward going there. Cookie in the Haydens. Hello, Chris. Hope you're doing well. Getting paid too much is official. I'll have you know that this was all kind of funded via sponsorships and things like that. But yeah, no. It is. I am very privileged to be able to be playing around with this particular piece of technology. And can you turn your eyes on Aaron? I can, but if I'm completely honest with you, I find them really weird. It might not even show up on camera, but in theory, the eyes should be showing up now, because I've turned myself from being in my pass-through mode where I can see my office to now I'm sat on a beach. So basically, with sound effects included, I'm now sat on a beach. So I'm basically doing what Johann is doing at this point in time, replicating his area from there. So yeah, but the idea is, it's cool. Like, I get what the point of it is. It's to kind of humanize it a little bit more. But if I'm completely honest with you, it looks really, really just not natural. It just doesn't look natural at all, which is the whole point, right? It was to humanize it, is to show your eyes sat on the screen here. And I think when they first showed this product, that was a bit that everyone was like, oh, that's quite clever. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure I'm convinced by that part of it. I think for that to work, they need to absolutely nail it. It needs to be kind of one for one. Oh, it didn't show up. No, that's a shame. That is a shame. But yeah, if you look at it in person, it doesn't look great. I'm completely honest with you. Go from that. Right. I need to make sure that I continue to do what I'm supposed to do. So let me quickly run our Apron ad roll. And I have actually got an interesting story about Apron and Vision Pro. So let me roll the intro and then we'll talk straight about it. I'm here with my friends over at Apron, our new sponsor, and we've got an amazing feature that just went live. It's called Capture. And this is going to revolutionize the way you get data from your client. Watch this. Get the receipt, take the photo, bish, bash, done. That's it. This is going to be dead quick, dead straightforward, dead simple, and more importantly, it's easy for your clients to use. Did I tell you you got WhatsApp in as well? What more do you want? Okay, so my story about Apron and Vision Pro. So as you all know, we love Apron. Apron has been a great resource for our practice. Great, and our clients are absolutely loving it. They're loving the WhatsApp functionality, the idea that they can get the receipts directly through WhatsApp. Honestly, if you're looking at reasons why you should be looking to maybe move platforms, move from one receipt or use receipt capture for the first time, that WhatsApp technology, that idea of your clients can just WhatsApp in their receipts, is a real easy way to have those conversations with clients about why you'd want to move over and move from one to the other. So we're loving Apron for that. We're loving their roadmap that's coming up as well, including, which is really exciting, the ability to be able to bring in bank statements, and they want to be able to extract bank statements for us and be able to bring that in. So loving the work that Apron's done. But to my surprise, if I was to go into and use that whole bringing up all my apps and everything else, if I go to what's called compatible apps, which is basically apps that are not built for a Vision Pro, so you don't get any extra functionality or anything like that, but Apron is a compatible app. So again, you guys unfortunately can't see what I can see, but you'll be able to see this in the video on Tuesday. I'm actually now interacting with my Apron app. So from here, I can capture documents. I can look at the receipts I've already brought in. I can go through and view those receipts, make sure I'm happy with them. I can capture ones. Now, at the moment, when I press capture, it takes me to my camera roll, and I can bring up camera from there or from files or wherever I want to upload it from. So I don't have the ability to be able to capture yet, but these do have cameras in. So let me know. I mean, is that something we want to? Is it worth even Apron looking into this? But is that something we want? Would that be a better experience if we used the cameras on here to capture our receipts going forward? I can't see it being mainstream anytime soon, but is that a use case? Would that be more efficient? You know, if you had someone who had to put hundreds and hundreds of invoices in there, is literally using this as a way to capture them as you go along, is that more efficient? I don't know. I'm unconvinced if that's the future we want, but that was definitely something I was surprised to see. The fact that Apron's even working in the first place, kudos. Like that's amazing. That's there. You know, you can have it. I can now move it around. I can stick it over here, or I can put it over there, and I can interact with it. Great. Do we want this to be a way of doing the cameras as well? Would we have any benefit of capturing it directly from here? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. But yeah, that's an option that that I'm excited to kind of see they go through. Yeah, Paul says for bulk receipts, my Snap Scan is all I need, and I use Snap Scan and I use Scan Snap. Sorry, and we also use another one as well at the moment. I forgot what it's called, but there's a review on the YouTube for it. And yeah, they're great, right? And you push them straight through. But that is very much, you have to be in your office, right? You have to be there to capture that, to bring that there. Is this the solution if you're at a client, for example? You need to you want to get the data in there nice and quickly. Because I use my phone for that now, right? I just get my phone, take a load of photos on there, and the information then could be processed quite efficiently. Is this more efficient? I don't know. This is where you kind of see to yourself that, are we just innovating for the sake of it, or is there actually some benefits from pushing it through there? Other bits that I need to get through, the A Awards. So let me roll the Accounting Excellent Awards, and then we can talk about what our plans are going to be for the Accounting Excellent Awards. And do I use this for that? Let's talk about that in a minute. And there we have it, Accounting Excellence Award. So we're really excited for this in October to actually go and do what we do best and do our grid walks and everything else. But the question would be, the grid walks going forward, we do it from time to time when we use our meta glasses. So the idea then is we can record the grid walk not only from the camera's point of view, but from our POV as well. Is a grid walk with this beneficial to anyone? That whole experience of pretty much having it in VR, AR perspective, there is a potential that we could do that, because on here is a whole camera system. Like if I press this little button up here, I can actually open up Capture, and I can record, bits from there. So we could record the whole of the grid walk, or in this case, the table walk, as we're going to be calling it, via there. So yeah, it'd be interesting to know if we want to bring that up to fruition or not. I don't know, but that is definitely an option that we have been thinking about, and thinking about if we can bring even more benefits to the what you call it. Okay, cool. Next news article I want to talk about is HMRC has decided to build a VAT registration estimation tool. Now, HMRC bringing out tools is actually normally a good thing for us, right? Normally that means that we've got things that we can use for our clients, and we can help them better. So every time they release a tool is normally a good thing. Normally that's something that's good, and most of the time those tools are designed so that they don't need an accountant, and that's the right thing, right? Like, should a client have to rely on an accountant to decide how much they're going to be impacted by VAT registration? No, they shouldn't. They should be able to go directly to HMRC and get all that information. That's what this tool is designed to do. The only problem with this tool is it seems to have been got off on the wrong foot. And the reason for that is it seems not to be as accurate as it should be, which is a real shame. And I think this is very much similar to what we've been talking about a lot lately, isn't it? About the idea of minimal viable products. And if we're going to release something, then let's make sure that it's coming right first time, every time. And I just don't feel like that's what's happened here. I feel like they've released something. Yeah, it seems to be okay. The tool also links further detail about VAT registration process, so it's going to help the client understand what they need to do and going through from there. But they really needed this to come out swinging straight away. And from what we can tell, it seems to be good, but it seems to be kind of missing kind of the a few of the kind of bits that it needs. And if you look through the kind of comments and everything else, there's a lot of people basically kicking the tires and saying, yeah, it's got this right, it's got that right, but it's not got this bit right. And it feels like this is the sort of thing that if we're going to have a tool like this that clients are going to rely on, we kind of need it to be spot on from day one. And maybe this is the sort of thing where we really should have put it through a beta process first, let a load of accountants rip it apart, figure out exactly what it can do and what it can't do. And then it might have ended up in a better position for everybody. So yeah, goes from there. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully this means they're going to bring up updates for it. I like the fact that we have a tool like this. I think, it's definitely something we're going to be pushing our clients to just have a look at, see what, go through. We're going to be putting a few case scenarios, case studies through it, see how it goes. But yeah, the fact we've got a nice little tool is a good thing, in my opinion. Next one, and this is the one that's actually going to really affect us if this is the case, but Microsoft Teams have thrown some of their connectors with a very short few months notice. The idea here is that Microsoft Teams is going to be cutting some of the connections they've got. Now, it seems like it's only Office 365 related connections at this point in time, but we really rely on our Microsoft Teams and the connectors it's already got. So one of the connectors that we love the most is the fact that HubSpot, which is our CRM tool, we have that actually bringing in directly in. And we find that the HubSpot tool connector directly into Teams is an absolute game changer for us, because that means that if a client was to reply to a ticket, or if someone was put an update on a ticket, and tickets for us are basically our interactions with clients, then we get a Teams notification letting us know that that's happened. And what that means is we can always make sure we're on top of these elements. And from this news article here, it looks like that some of them, with only a couple of months' notice, some of those connections are going to be broken. It seems to be a lot of them is Office 365 ones, like I said. So it shouldn't be third-party ones that are being connected. But the danger is that, well, why are they breaking these? There must be something in there that's not working or needs updating or is a resource hog or something else that's there. But actually, yeah, I've got a feeling, and hopefully this isn't the case, but I've got a feeling that this is going to be something that means that other connections are going to break, and that means we're going to be in a worse state than we already are. So that is it. And they were the news articles I wanted to go through. Again, apologies, it's been a bit of a different day, a different Ask the Accountant today. Yeah, we weren't expecting to have to do a solo show, but it's always good to kind of just go out there and talk about what was there. Thankfully, I had the chance to talk about the Vision Pro, so we had that opportunity to bring that into it. There's big updates coming to the Vision Pro as well, so as soon as they come out, I'm definitely going to cover them in one way or another. I've got a video coming out about the Vision Pro as well, so stay tuned on that one. I definitely don't think it's something people should be rushing out to buy. That's definitely not what I'm saying, but I do think it's something that that we need to think about as being involved in. Like, the more people who can kick the tires, figure it out, like find problems, find issues, I think the better everyone's going to be in terms of what the final iteration of this is going to be. Because this isn't the final. This is for want of a better words, is a prototype, right? Like, this is the worst this technology will ever be. And I'm really excited about what this can be. I don't think that, this is going to revolutionize my practice or anything like that at this point in time, but I do think that there's going to be some really cool aspects of it going forward. So there. Brilliant. Well, thank you everyone for listening in today. Sorry, it's been a bit of a rambly one, but we just needed to go on with it. And but thank you to everyone who's commented. Loads of comments have come flowing in, so that's great to see. And I'm sure we will be back very, very soon. Well, we'll be back next week. Fingers crossed we'll figure out if we can get Johan's internet connected to work. But if not, we'll make sure we bring a guest on for next week, so it's not just me rambling on. All right. Thank you, everybody. We will call it there, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Cheers, everyone. Bye for now.